Laura Mason documents a process for 2015 senior project. So I am playing Polly Peachum in A Penny for Brecht, which is a creative collaboration about three-penny novel. Within the first week, we've devised four scenes with Polly. The first one is her opening scene where she got the book here, where she's sitting in a bathtub and her mother is bathing her, and then it transitions to this dance hall where she meets two different men. It's sort of this dance battle almost for who's gonna be with her. She has this rope tied around her waist that's supposed to be like a chastity belt, and each one has an end, and they obviously want to unravel it, take her chastity. And then she chooses to marry one of them, McKeith. This is all on her own, and then continues to keep seeing, keep having sex with the other one, Mr. Smiles. She becomes pregnant by him, and then in the next scene that we've devised, it's called 15 pounds, which refers to how much it's going to cost her to have an abortion. Um, and there's a midwife who has a very scary knife and will do it for cheaper. And then Mr. Smiles doesn't want to pay for any of it, and he actually offers um, to give her an onion and to have her abort the baby with an onion, and he tries to show her how to do that, which is rather terrifying. And she's eating jam, like, throughout this whole scene because there's this thing with Polly about how she indulges herself with um, things that are stolen, like dipping her fingers in the jam jar and just eating straight from it, really rubs on her conscience, but she can't stop doing it anyway, and that's kind of analogous to her current situation. She gets married to Mr. McKeith, and there's a big wedding scene which isn't finished, and the last scene is called Family is Family, where her father decides to trade her to Mr. Cokes for a business deal. Um, so this whole thing is just about how Polly doesn't have that much agency for her own self, for her own sexuality, for her own sensuality, and she's just so controlled by men. So that leads into the first document that I've looked at for this project, which is called Resisting the Organic. It is an article by Lauren Love, who is a feminist actress who used Brechtian principles while playing Gwendolyn in The Importance of Being Earnest in order to put forth her own feminist ideas in a very patriarchal world, both our world and the world of The Importance of Being Earnest. So she starts off by saying that the very fact of my female-gendered biology on a conventional stage commodifies my presence, where I become an object to be traded between the male characters and the male spectators. And I think that's very evident with Polly. It's not like your lines or your energy or anything like that is being traded, like she actually is being traded for money, for a business deal. Um, so I think this is really relevant to the kind of person that Polly is, and just like how to play this woman, since I am a feminist and she doesn't have that much um, agency for herself to put forward any of these thoughts. Um, and the dialectic of that, of the fact that I'm playing this woman and I don't agree with any single one of her decisions, but I'm gonna do them anyway on stage, and what does that mean? I'll get to that later. So, Lauren continues to say and go on, um, she quotes Dolan, and it says, if she, the actress, identifies with the narrative's objectified passive woman, she becomes complicit in her own indirect objectification. If she admires the represented female body as a consumable object, she participates in her own commodification. So there's really no winning here. If you just go with the flow of the world, then you're just letting yourself be objectified. But if you try to empower yourself, then you're letting yourself be commodified, and knowing that you're selling your own sexuality, and that, like, because you're self-aware, it's better, or it's okay, or more of a choice, or something. So that that's really hard to reckon with, is, do you allow that? And Lauren Love goes on to say the female performer in conventional theater is also implicated, possibly to an even greater degree, because she becomes the objectified body. She stands for the body that does not matter. So if you're playing a character who is objectified, who is commodified, how do you separate that from objectifying and commodifying yourself? The fact that Polly is an object, how do I separate Laura from being an object? If the men on stage are commodifying Polly and selling her, how is that not selling Laura? If the spectators see this and are not aware of just the atrocity of what they're seeing, then how do they not try to commodify me and see me as something that can be bought or sold? Luckily, this show is free, because if they were buying a ticket to see me do any sort of erotic action, then that would be much more controversial for me in my mind. So Lauren Love, she talks about these great dialectical issues between the character within herself, how does she deal with these things that are happening to her, and the actor in the character, how do I as the actor deal with these things that are happening to my character and to me. It's not as if I'm not objectified or commodified or anything. But she's trained, Lauren Love is trained in Stanislavski and the method and how you need to empty yourself like a vessel. She's quoting Hagen here. So she can fill herself with the character. My organic process allows no room for social or political analysis. In many, if not most cases, I must accept an expression of ideological constructs which negatively impact material conditions for women. A Brechtian acting technique, on the other hand, would demand my presence as a performer alongside my character's presence. I would be required to think about what my character was doing and to communicate those thoughts to the spectators. So this is one of the reasons that I've chosen this topic to work on, because I'm doing a Brechtian show. And I think it's just the perfect way to research. Lauren Love did this with the importance of being earnest, which is much more difficult than actually doing a Brechtian show and introducing feminism to just whatever you're researching with your character. And the fact that Polly is such a trade commodity, I think is just perfect to research this and be reflexive in my own understanding of it, because just that dialectic is there. It's there to be explored. And just Brecht allows that with this character. So this is sort of where I'm going with her. It's only been 4 days, but I'm really excited about exploring more dialectics next week and just conducting more research.